tension today. Australia boosts Philippine military ties as South China Sea tensions rise. Australia has agreed to strengthen its security cooperation with the United States, Japan, and the Philippines. Analysts say the move is a response to China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea. China's ambitions in the South China Sea continue to alarm Australia, its Indo-Pacific allies, and the United States. In response, Australia, the United States, and Japan have agreed to step up military drills with the Philippines. Defense officials from the four countries met in Hawaii on Friday, declaring their commitment to protecting freedom of navigation in the region. Earlier this week, the Philippines accused China of dangerous maneuver and harassment after its use of water cannons against two Philippine vessels during a patrol in the South China Sea. Last month, Australia, the US, and Japan held their first joint naval exercises in the region. Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles told reporters closer ties would enhance security. There is a power and a significance in our four countries acting together. The meetings that we have held represent a very significant message to the region and to the world about four democracies which are committed to the global rules-based order, he said. Experts believe increased military cooperation with the Philippines is an attempt to counter China's increased aggression. Malcolm Davis is a senior analyst at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, an independent research organization. He told the Australian Broadcasting Corp that Beijing's regional ambitions are causing growing concern. What you are seeing is concern that China will continue to escalate its aggression against the Philippines to try and coerce them into backing down and accepting Chinese domination of the entirety of the South China Sea, which China wants as its territorial waters. This is China undertaking hostile actions against a sovereign state in international waters, he said. In response, Beijing urged the Philippine government not to challenge China's resolve to defend China's sovereignty in the region. China has sweeping claims in the South China Sea, which has rich fishing grounds and is a major international shipping route. Davis says China's territorial ambitions could have implications for Australia and the United States. It would affect Australia because then China could deny our commercial shipping the right to passage through those waters and, obviously, it would affect U.S. security, he said. Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei also have claims overlapping with each other's or China's in the South China Sea. Beijing has refused to recognize a 2016 international arbitration ruling that rejected its expansive claims in the region. Beijing has insisted that efforts by the United States to boost its security alliances in the Indo-Pacific region are aimed at containing China and threaten stability. On other media, China must adhere to the international rules-based order established by global maritime treaties of which it is a member. In response to China-Philippines Gentleman's Agreement on South China Sea is best adhered to April 26. I would like to point out that, first, the Philippines is a democracy. Even a president cannot enter into any agreement that infringes on the country's territorial sovereignty. Second, this agreement was simply verbal with no evidence in writing. China had said in 1995 that its installations at Mischief Reef were not military in nature, but shelter for fishermen. Now we have what looks like a full-blown military base complete with radars and a runway near the Philippine island of Palawan. Fourth, the International Arbitral Tribunal in The Hague ruled that China's claims on the area within the 9-line had no legal basis. The 9-line doesn't even have longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates. These rocks, which are roughly 1,000 kilometers from Hainan, cannot support human life. Therefore, they cannot have their own exclusive economic zone. Meanwhile, the closest ease-generating island here is Palawan in the Philippines. Meanwhile, two senior Philippine officials on Sunday denied a claim by China that Manila had agreed on a new model in handling their territorial dispute in the South China Sea. Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. and National Security Advisor Eduardo Ano issued separate statements, with Teodoro branding the claim devious machination and Ano calling it absolutely absurd, ludicrous, and preposterous. A spokesperson by the Chinese embassy in Manila on Saturday said the Philippine military's Western Command, which oversees the South China Sea, early this year agreed on a new model to manage the situation in the Second Thomas Shoal. That's where tensions between the two countries have escalated in recent months. Details of the new model have not been released, but the Chinese embassy said the Western Command made repeated confirmation that it had been approved by all key officials in the Philippine chain of command, including the National Defense Secretary and the National Security Advisor. Teodoro said he had disallowed any contact between his department and the Chinese embassy following his meeting with Ambassador Huang Xilian in July. Ano said neither he nor any concerned officials have consented nor committed to any proposal that will compromise the national interest. The Chinese embassy did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the remarks of the Philippine officials outside of usual business hours. China's statement on the new model came after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration disowned the similar pact, dubbed Gentleman's Agreement, which China said was reached during former President Rodrigo Duterte's tenure.